So AI you use every day. So I'm sure that most of us have used Siri or Alexa at some point in time, right? Before, whether it's in our homes, whether it's on our phones. Me personally, Alexa and I are besties, right? I have an Alexa set up in my room and I always use her. I am also besties with Gemini, Google Gemini, for those of you who may have used Gemini before, right? And these voice assistants are powered by artificial intelligence. And, you know, voice assistants, facial recognition, all these things, it makes life easier at the end of the day, right? When we look at streaming platforms like Netflix, Spotify, even on Amazon, sometimes we are scrolling and we see something pop up similar to what we were looking for in the first place. So let's say we were looking for a high waisted pants. Maybe you may be scrolling 2 days later and you see more high waisted pants popping up, and you may wonder, well, how does Amazon know that I like high waisted pants? But you have looked for search for high waisted pants in the past. So based on your past history or your past search history, the model learns your patterns in terms of what you like, what you don't like, and it makes suggestions. So it's kind of used as a marketing tool on some of these websites. When we look at facial recognition, I'm sure most of us have some form of facial recognition on our phones, right? To unlock it. So as a form of security or as a form of authentication. I'm sure some of us also would use facial recognition as a form of multi-factor authentication where we take a layered approach. So we may have like a passcode or a PIN, and then we need to go to take a further step to unlock the phone by using our face. I know in some companies, they also use facial recognition to record when an employee enters into the building and when they leave. Because we know some of us, we like to be fashionably late for work, right? I am no different sometimes, but most organizations now, they are implementing this as a way to account for employees. When we look at email spam filters, this kind of falls more into the category of what we do here at the CSIT. Now, AI has made things like phishing emails and stuff like that more automated. So no longer is a man or woman sitting behind a computer trying to send out a phishing email. These phishing emails are now automated, so therefore it targets a wider audience, right? And because of that, the defenders like myself are using artificial intelligence to counteract that. So we have AI models trained now to pinpoint when an email is a spam. So based on, let's say, past history or certain parameters, certain red flags, the email system would categorize some emails coming in as spam, right? So again, it learns based on patterns. So it's also based on probability, and that's something we would look at further in some of the upcoming slides. So AI in our daily lives. So AI allows us to have more personalized experiences. So, like I was explaining with Amazon, Netflix, and all these different websites that we like to shop on, right? It helps to make suggestions. Also, when you are typing something, let's say in Google or Bing, right? These search engines, they need to sift through thousands or sometimes billions of web pages. And what they do, they consider things like your location, your geographic location, things like your past history, and also they try to match keywords that you input, right? And what they do, they give you the most relevant answer. So the beauty of AI really is about filtering the noise and bringing or delivering relevance. When we look at generative AI, so AI doesn't only analyze existing data, It can also create new data in the form of images, in the form of text. It can help you to create an email. So the way I like to think about it, I like to think about AI as my partner in crime or my creative partner. Because at the end of the day, the AI model still needs the human intelligence in order to help it to achieve something. And it's basically based on prompts that we as humans set or parameters that we create is basically what we would get out of the AI chatbot like Google Gemini or ChatGPT. And I'm sure most of us on the call have used either one of these before, right? And it's even this presentation was created with AI. If you look at some of the photos, they were actually created using artificial intelligence. So it kind of makes our lives a bit easier because it does some of the more mundane tasks, it does the research for us, and it allows us now to focus on more, I would say, complex tasks, right? But we still need to double check, to fact check, to ensure that what the AI model gives us is up to par with our standard. So when we look at real world improvements, AI is helping in sectors such as healthcare, which is a really critical sector, right? We have seen during the COVID-19 pandemic that doctors and nurses alike were under a lot of strain because of the influx of patients who were being diagnosed with COVID-19. So what AI does is it it can help to detect things like cancer. Um, it can basically help detect um, like pathogens and stuff in your body. It can also help with detecting if you have maybe some sort of heart disease. So what it does, it kind of helps to accelerate diagnosis, and it acts as a second pair of eyes or like a second opinion to the doctors, because sometimes we are only human and we can miss certain things when diagnosing um, persons. So the AI really helps us in that aspect. I don't know how much of you on the call may trust an artificial intelligence model to perform surgery on you, but it's actually something that's being talked about and conversations that are being had out there, right? So maybe a few years from now, we may be able to go into the hospital and get a surgery done by artificial intelligence. And again, what it does, it kind of frees up the time of doctors and lawyers or whoever actually in whatever field, whatever area the AI model is being brought in to assist. It's a big help in terms of doing mundane tasks or those simpler tasks, and it allows us as humans now to focus on other things. So when we look at fraud detection, banks also use AI to analyze your spending habits, right? So banks basically use the AI model to look for patterns in your spending. So in Trinidad and Tobago, we have, and I know it's an international franchise, KFC, Kentucky Fried Chicken. So let's say, you buy Kentucky Fried Chicken almost every day, and you are making those purchases every other day. And then one day you make a purchase, or a purchase is registered for, let's say, $20,000 at some hotel in your country, right? Chances are you may be flagged, or chances are the bank would flag you, because that's a purchase that is outside of the ordinary. It's an unusual purchase. So AI has the ability to help in fraud detection. I remember some years ago, I was traveling to the US, and in Trinidad and Tobago, we have to call well, in the past, it's not something that we have to do now, but in the past, we would have had to call our banks to tell them, hey, we are traveling to X country, so don't put a hold on my card, right? And this particular time, I didn't notify the bank. So when I was on the plane, I was trying to purchase a drink. And when I swipe my card, it got declined because at the end of the day, the model knows that I am based in Trinidad and Tobago. So why am I even purchasing something on a plane in the US? Right? It's not something, like I said, that we have to do any longer, but banks have something we call KYC, Know Your Customer. And with that model or that mechanism, the banks are able to, like I said, monitor your spending habits. And if they see something, out of the ordinary, they would flag it. And that it sometimes your card is being skimmed and you don't even know. But because of the AI model, um, in the institution, in your banking institution, it is able to save you or protect you from financial loss and by extension, fraud. So AI is not magic, it's math. So remember, in a few slides prior, I was explaining that AI is an interdisciplinary field. It's made up of maths, it's made up of psychology, computer science, and information technology. I don't know how many of you like maths on the call, but I was never a maths person, and I don't think I am to this date. To this day. When we look at how AI learns, so like I said before, AI finds patterns in massive amounts of data and it makes predictions. So the quality of the data determines the outcome. So if you feed the AI model inaccurate data or data that is biased, that is basically what you would get as the end result, right? Data is, if you will. So if you put in garbage in, garbage out, right? You put in factual information, you would get factual information out of the AI model. Now, when we look at testing and training, AI is trained on massive data sets and then tested to see if you can make correct predictions on new and unseen data. So the software engineers, they basically train the AI model to make its own rules. And then what they do, sometimes they hold back some portions of the tested data to ensure that the AI model can make predictions on new content or unseen data. And like I said before, the quality and integrity of the data is very crucial, especially in areas such as cybersecurity and even finance. Because you can imagine if you are using an AI model, let's say in the banking sector, that data that you are inputting, it needs to be factual, it needs to be accurate, right? And it actually goes back to a principle in cybersecurity known as the CIA triad, which stands for confidentiality, integrity, and availability. When we speak about data having integrity, we are speaking about data being factual, data being reliable, data being accurate, right? So we must ensure that the data we are using is based on facts. And that's where the human intelligence part comes into play. So AI is all about probability. So at no time does an AI model know for certain or have a definitive answer to whatever prompt you may ask it, right? It gives you um, an answer or a response based on the prompts that you give it. So let's see, email spam filtering system, right? An email may come in and the system may block it. It's not 100% that that email is a spam email, but based on past history, it is able to say, I am 98% sure, or I am 99% sure, based on spam emails that I have seen in the past, that this also may be a scam. So it therefore means that AI is an incredibly powerful tool and it operates on the spectrum of likelihood, right? So again, human oversight still remains essential. So it's up to us to double check, to fact check all the information that we get out of an AI model or an AI chatbot.